Good morning. Good morning, Instagram and YouTube. I will not be carrying Instagram for the entire live stream because it will get too worrisome, especially when I get into the grit and the nitty gritty of energetics of what men bring to a relationship. So if you're watching me on Instagram, you might want to go ahead and take the time to look at the link in my bio or in my stories and guide yourself over to YouTube because I'm not going to finish up over here on Instagram. I'm just going to get started here on Instagram and continue on YouTube. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Make sure that you let me know that you can hear me and see me. I need something from Instagram and YouTube to let me know because I don't want to get started and then realize that there's some type of audio issues with the YouTube or audio issues with Instagram. So I need to know that you can hear me, you can see me, and then we're going to get started because we have at least 6 things. I chose 6 things to talk about this morning because these things I feel like are the most important when it comes to energetics of what men bring. So good morning, lovely and girly. Good morning, Melina Trumps. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Daisy B. Good morning, Louie. All right, so I am so happy to do this. You all know I love talking about the spiritual or the energetics behind things. That is like one of my favorite subjects. So I'm so excited for this that I had to write down notes because I did not want to spend a lot of time just, going on and on and on. And it's not important to the topic at hand. Good morning. Finally on time. It's evening over here. Audio is A1. Yes, yes, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much, YouTube, Instagram. Remember, Instagram. Eventually, I will cut the stream and just do the full stream on YouTube. I'm giving you an opportunity to hear, listen in to the conversation. But if you want to continue it, the link is in my bio or in my stories to carry you over to YouTube so you can finish up with me. But I'm gonna get started over here, okay? Finally, I get to watch you live. Yes, yes, absolutely. So let's talk about it. When it comes to men, and we're gonna be talking about wholeness. We're talking about wholeness and not a man who has leaky energy. What is the difference? A man who has leaky energy is a man who's always seeking wholeness. Wholeness is the entire being. It can be the personality, the behavior, the experiences, the values, the beliefs. This is the entire being. When someone feels as though they're not whole, they seek out wholeness. And this is also in nature also. In nature is always trying to figure out how to heal itself. So when we don't feel whole, we're always trying to figure out how to make ourselves whole, how to make ourselves healed. And sometimes the way we go about it is very unhealthy, or it could be in a healthy manner, especially if it's brought up in a committed relationship. So let's talk about what men bring. We talked about what women bring. If you want to see that other video, it's on my YouTube page. I am going to be doing some house cleaning when it comes to YouTube, so it's going to be easier for you to find videos, but that's a very recent one, so you should be able to go to, I think it's like new videos, and you should be able to see. It's probably at the top of my page on YouTube, because I just recently did it. I did it last week. So, energetics. A man brings structure. Now, structure is the arrangement of parts that can be natural or man-made. The energy of structure that a man carries brings calmness to the feminine energy. When you see or come across a man who has the energy of structure, everything has a place and everything has a time. And you're going to recognize it in the way that he has his routine, his schedule, his life set up. He is not chaotic. He doesn't have that chaotic energy. He has structure. And that structure energy that he addresses the things that are important first and the least last. So you want to make sure that this man energetically comes with the energy of structure, because it's highly important when the feminine, in order for the feminine to feel a sense of safety, not that she can't give that to herself. And I want you to realize, I'm gonna pause right here for a second. Everything that I'm going to discuss in this video, a woman can absolutely bring these things to herself. But in order to bring these things to yourself, you must recognize it first. So if you don't have these things for yourself, you're absolutely going to seek it. Remember, we talked about leaky energy and how even in nature, it's always trying to heal. It's always trying to become whole. As human beings, since we're spiritual beings having a human existence, we're always trying to become whole. And if we aren't whole, we seek out things that's going to make us whole. And that may be through our behaviors, the way that we act, the way that we communicate, the way that we interact, who we attract, who we sleep with, who we hang around. All of these are indicators if you have leaky energy or not. So you want men who have whole energy. They're able to stand on their own foundation within their own masculine power. Okay, so this page is not about trying to diminish men or make men feel like they don't have any power. I absolutely do believe that the feminine power and the masculine power, we have to integrate, and we have to absolutely get together in order to bring about a healthy, happy relationship. So structure is the first thing I would say energetically that a man has to bring. Logic. Logic, energetically, when it comes to logic, it is reasoning. A man that has the energy of logic is slow to respond but quick to solve. This means he is reasoning. He takes time to really think about a problem. He doesn't just spout off solutions that don't make sense. He really is slow to respond but quick to solve. This is the reason why the first thing that I tell women when they are dealing with masculine energy or men at large, you want to make sure that this person, you give them a problem, they can give you a solution. Because energetically, it is absolutely important that he has logic, that he has reasoning, that he can go in and solve a problem, and he doesn't need your assistance to do so. He doesn't need your guidance to do so. He can get things done. All right. Stability. Stability is highly important because that means he's going to be consistent, controlled, and balanced. A man has to be constant and dependable, strengthened in order to endure. And when a man has the energy of stability, there is a calmness that comes with him. Like when the feminine energy gets around a man who does not have the energy of stability, there's some chaos that begins. We're already chaotic by nature. We're already dealing with the unseen by nature. But when we deal with a man who doesn't have the energy of stability, this means that's added chaos, added pressure, added situations and issues that women have to deal with that is not normal. When you add too much pressure to something, it falls, it fails. So the energy of stability is absolutely important because of the fact that women are already chaotic at nature. We're already dealing with the unseen. We're already dealing with our intuition. We're already dealing with our emotions. We're already dealing in that arena. We don't need a man to come in with the energy of confusion. When he comes with confusion, he adds to the pressure that we already deal with on a day-to-day. So you want him to have stability. You want him to come with masculine power. Now, masculine power is hard power, which hard power is compelling. And this just means it's action forward. He keeps going through obstacles. He doesn't stop. When there's something in his way, he doesn't just lay down and play dead. He doesn't just pretend it doesn't exist. He just continues to move forward until he accomplishes the goal. He must be able to restrict himself in order to be able to assist others and take care of others. If he cannot say no to himself, that he cannot wait a little bit to get the things that he wants, he can't restrict himself until he accomplishes goals, and he has to absolutely get it now, he doesn't have the masculine power. And see, masculine power can be used in a healthy or unhealthy way. At first, I want to keep this kind of positive, just like I do when it comes to when I talk about what women do. But I think when we're talking about masculine power, I want you to recognize men who use masculine power in a healthy way, they do certain things and behaviors that you need to recognize. They apply force. And what I mean by applying force, when they apply force, this means they may, like financial abuse. You've heard of financial abuse. You heard of women being in that situation where the men would control the money and she has to ask for it, or she can't receive it, or he's doing something with the money to make sure that she doesn't have access to it in order to get the behaviors that he wants. This is unhealthy masculine power. Even when you go on social media, you see an example of unhealthy masculine power where men are trying to force women to become something that they are not. They're trying to force women to be either traditional, modern, sexual. They're trying to force women to mold them into things that they want by trying to take something away from them. which this is absolute example of masculine power. You should recognize when masculine power is being used around you. So you can recognize if the man is using masculine power in a healthy way or unhealthy way. Is he using force in order to get something and trade it, and it's in an unhealthy manner? So maybe he's deciding that he is not going to give funds, or he's going to control the funds in order not to be taken advantage of. So he continues to take something from her, or maybe he gives a gift and then takes it back when he's mad. That's an example of unhealthy masculine power. You have to recognize it when it's in front of you. So you recognize when a man is not healthy and he is leaking. And this is leaking energy. This is an example how they use masculine power and their energy is leaking when they don't consider themselves to be whole. So they do things in order to feel whole instead of be whole. So masculine power, you need to recognize it. Healthy masculine power, you notice they will have the drive, the ambition. They can overcome resistance. They have a sense of discipline about their day and about themselves. So you want to recognize when a man is using it properly and when he's not using it properly. Now, I'm going to talk about this one, and then we're going to go over to YouTube because this one I actually considered not putting it up there. And I know you're like, why did I not put it up? Why I didn't want to put it up there? Because it's old. It's deep South. This is deep South thinking. And maybe North, I don't know. I'm not from other areas. I've lived in the South all my life. And I've lived in the deep South before. And there's something called bad blood. Bad blood is something that women have to pay attention to. What is bad blood? Bad blood can absolutely equal a weak man. It can equal a weak man, but it also can equal generational curses, sickness, depression. Now, back in the day, when men and women were in their roles and in their absolutely feminine, masculine power, when a woman was vetting, and when the family was deciding the person that they were going to marry, they looked to see if bad blood existed. Now, today, when a woman talks about bad blood, they would say, "Oh, that's not modern. That's not true. It's not real." And I'm going to say, from my 42 years of experience, bad blood does exist. And you will see bad blood. Now, it doesn't have to necessarily mean that they have a mental health issue or they have some type of curse or they're sick or have depression. It can just mean weak men. Weak men create weak families. So you have to pay attention to bad blood. If there's bad blood and it goes generation after generation after generation, you need to pay attention to that and decide that maybe I'm not going to deal with this man because I see the bad blood. I can see that they suffer from some type of mental health issue. I can see that there's some type of wildness in them that cannot be controlled, and they end up harming themselves or making themselves sick or doing things that's going to harm themselves overall. And I'm not saying that this doesn't exist in women, because I would be lying if I didn't say it. I am saying you have to pay attention to bad blood. Energetically, spiritually, you want to pay attention to bad blood, and bad blood does not have to mean something physical. It can absolutely mean a weak man. Do you realize that if you have procreate with a man who has bad blood, you will have children that has a set of wildness in them that you will have a set of strength in order to subdue. And not just subdue physically, you will have to do your due diligence in order to make sure that these children survive and these children progress and these children live their best lives. And I'm saying this from experience from a woman that my father died, but he absolutely came from bad blood. And it did take a sense of strength and natural consequences in order for me to be guided. And when you have boy children and it's from a man that has bad blood, and remember, it doesn't have to always be physical. It can absolutely be weak. Weakness. It's a weakness in the bloodline. And it being a weakness in the bloodline, you're going to have to absolutely go about it with natural consequences for that child. You're going to have to absolutely step back and let that child deal with the consequences of life, which is not something that today's generation want to do. You want to go out here and save your children. Nothing wrong with helping them. Nothing wrong with assisting them. Nothing wrong with guiding them. But when you know for facts that you had children with a man who had bad blood, like I'm from the South. I was born in South Carolina. So this right here really means a lot to me. So when I was out here vetting for my husband, I already knew that I came from bad blood. So I did not want to continue that bloodline. I wanted to stop it in its tracks. And I knew the best way to do that was to get a man who had, like they call it, good blood, strong blood, strength. There's strength in the bloodline. And see, he had strength in the bloodline. So I knew that it would be able to carry out, and I knew how to deal with the bad blood that I would carry. So I'm not saying this, hey, me good, you bad. I'm saying it from a child of bad blood, okay? And only, I know some people are gonna be like, this doesn't exist. It does. It does. Blood is so important because DNA is carried in the blood, and you are not only alone in your blood, you also carry the ancestors in your blood. So your bloodline matters. Back in the day, we understood that bad blood was a thing. And we absolutely avoided people who had bad blood. We were like, bad blood, bad blood. Your family blood, you got bad blood. All of the men in the family, they're all shifters or like shiesty, like not shifters, shiesty. I've been reading it too much. They're all shiesty, or all of the men, they're all backstabbers. Like we knew this back in the day, and we look for certain things, and we consider it to be bad blood. And back in the day, that this was so important that they would put people away to make sure that other people didn't find out that they had bad blood in the family. They would go put them in a home, or when it's the psychiatry. I can't remember the name of it, but there's a certain name for it, where they would put their family members away so that other people wouldn't be able to know that they're part of the family, because the reputation of that person, and would create a issue of bad blood for them. So they would hide them and put them away. And yes, some men did this also to get rid of their wives, okay? They would go put them in facilities so that they could divorce them and pretend that they had some kind of sickness or something. But a lot of times it was either they wanted to get a divorce and it wasn't acceptable in their society, or the woman had something and they did not want that to be known because it will damage the reputation of the family. So this has been lost. This information has been lost, but I was taught it growing up. I just had a mom that was she wouldn't listen. Like I said, bad blood creates wildness. And since bad blood creates wildness, it takes a certain level of strength to deal with bad blood. So, and that's the reason why I wanted to keep it off of this list, but I was like, it's so important. It's energetically and spiritually what I'm talking about when it comes to what men bring. And this means you need to pay attention to if he has bad blood. You need to pay attention. Don't just look at the mama. Some of y'all be looking at the mama to see if she's been taken care of or getting princess treatment, or if she ever worked. Y'all need to be looking at the fathers. Y'all need to look at the father, the grandfather, go as far back as you possibly can to see if there's any bad blood. Because bad blood shows itself. Either it shows itself in a physical way, or it shows itself in a mental way. Maybe there's some mental instability in the family, and you need to know about it. This is how we get caught up today and procreate with a man who has bad blood, and we don't even realize it. We didn't know his grandma was put in a facility because she had schizophrenia. We didn't know that all of the men in the family suffer from depression. We didn't know that all of the family has generational curses, because we don't look for this anymore, because now today we believe that we're so modern that we don't understand there's the spiritual realm. There's a spiritual side to life that we need to be paying attention to so that we can vet and marry well. So look for the bad blood, because weak men create weak families. And you want to have a strong bloodline, a strong family, so that you can progress and evolve and elevate in life. And this is where I'm going to go ahead and cut off Instagram, and I'm going to finish up over on YouTube. Thank you all for being here on Instagram. I appreciate you so much. I'll see you all on the next one. All right, so let's continue on. The next one is sexual discipline. I know. Majority of today's society is all about sex and how we can get it and how we can have it and when we can do it. And it seems like so sexual and so sexual driven. But a man who is sexually disciplined is more whole and massive in masculine power. And massive, he's a powerhouse, a conscious being. And so you want a man who's sexually disciplined, because if he is leaking energy and he's not sexually disciplined, he's going to continue to try to find someone whole. He's seeking and searching for someone to feel him or make himself feel whole. Now, you remember when I talked about, I said I'm going to bring up polygamy. So if this is something that you agree with and it's something that you're into, this is not a hit at you. This is about the energetic and spiritual side of what men bring. And so the reason why polygamy is starting to rise up and you're starting to see it being more socially acceptable, it is because we have more people who have leaking energy. So they're always seeking a way to be whole and to be healed. And the more women that a man can tap into to become whole, he's going to continue to add to that. So that's the reason why men are searching out polygamy, because we have a lot of men who are leaking energy, and they're leaking energy. And since they want to figure out, how do I become whole? How do I become powerful? How do I become masculine? So they're seeking out polygamy. So polygamy seems to answer. And of course, they are attracting their counterparts. They're not attracting the whole feminine, powerful woman. They're attracting leaky feminine energy anyway. So, and they're getting together and they realize this is not enough. So they keep connecting with another person. They're like, oh, this is not enough. This other person, they gave me confidence. Oh, this other person made me feel strong. Oh, this other person makes me feel like I can build and create. Oh, this other person gives me and supports me and helps my self-concept. And so they keep adding people to heal what's broken. And so this is the reason why you see polygamy rising up. Some of you all think it's just a financial issue, and it may be. I think finances also has a place in this conversation. That's another reason why polygamy is starting to rise up. That men realize, oh, I can get women to actually pay for my lifestyle, and I can have a better lifestyle. But it goes beyond that. There's a spiritual reason that men are seeking polygamy, and some women are also. And it's because they want to feel whole. Everything in nature seeks to be whole and healed. And since it's seeking whole and healed, instead of dealing with the trauma that they had as children, or the trauma they had as an adult, or the trauma that they had as a teenager, they seek other people to feel that whole. And feeling that whole helps them feel healed instead of be healed. So that is the reason why you see the rise of polygamy happening now. It is a spiritual reason, not just a physical reason. Yes, they want more money. I mean, I think we all love more money, right? Now, when a man has sexual discipline, y'all have to realize this man, when a man has sexual discipline, this man learned how to transmute sexual energy. There isn't a successful man on the planet that hasn't learned how to transmute sexual energy. When a man is successful, he learns how to take his desire for women and hone it for a certain thought or behavior or experience so that he can evolve, elevate, and grow. So this is the reason why you want more sexual disciplined men, because the more sexual disciplined he becomes, a powerhouse he becomes, a conscious being he becomes. He takes that sexual desire, that sexual energy that he has, the desire that he has for women, and he can transmute it into energy for him to be able to go out here and build an empire. He can transmute it and to a energy so that he can create a way to make more money and finances, and a way to actually go up the socioeconomic ladder. So a man that has sexual discipline is a man that is much needed for a whole feminine energy woman. So I'm going to pause here because I think I said a lot. And I'm assuming everybody is saying hello, Daisy B. Amber, hello. Bad blood is definitely real. I grew up seeing how the son of the first husband turned out versus son of the second husband, and brother is 100% correct. Thank you so much, because I know that this is going to be hard for people here, because we've gotten away from the old ways. We've gotten away from the spiritual energy, the effects of it in our human existence. We want to pretend like it doesn't exist. And bad blood still exists. It is still a thing. It is something women should still be aware of, and you still should be vetting as such. Don't forget to like this incredible content, ladies. Thank you, Amber. I appreciate you so much. You all take the time to like the content, because you know the algorithm doesn't like the longer videos if you don't watch them. And I can see that YouTube has been pushing my content even further down the algorithm. When I look at my views, they're even more low than they were yet last year. So, but sexual discipline, you want to have a man who has sexual discipline, a man who's able to take any sexual desire. Instead of being the man who's like, oh, if he's told no, he goes and pout, he goes and gets upset, or he goes and find another woman. You want the guy who has that sexual discipline by himself. He can go and take your no, and he's going to work longer hours in order to create more for himself. Or he's going to take your no, and he's going to take the energy and be more creative and build something for himself. He's going to take your no, and he's going to take the energy of that no, and he's going to figure out how he can get a yes. See, this is a man who has sexual discipline. You want the man who has sexual discipline. A man who has sexual discipline is a powerhouse. He's a very conscious being. And he knows how to take that sexual desire, the desire that he gets from women. And this is the reason why, and this might be off subject, but I think the women here will love me to go in and talk about the fact that when it comes to desire, even desire can be transmuted into another thought or thinking or energy, and it can be used in order to pursue, persuade, increase, be better for a man. So this is the reason why so many other women of other cultures have realized what desire does for men, and they cover up. It's only in America where we don't understand the spiritual aspects and energetic aspects of desire and sex that we just put it all on the front street. We don't understand, and this is not about shaming a woman. It's just I want you to get understanding, because if you don't have understanding, you can't get comprehension. You can't get the knowledge. You need to understand what desire does and how men use it to transmute so that they can build for themselves. And this means they don't have to have sex with you in order to use you. Okay? And so you want men who have control over even the basic necessities of just looking at other women, just looking at other women. He can get all he needs from one woman because he understands the power of that desire. And he understands he wants to protect his energy, and he doesn't want to be leaky energy. He doesn't want to leak his energy everywhere, because when you leak energy everywhere, you're always seeking to be whole. And we're looking for healthy, whole, masculine men. Resources. A man has to come with resources. And I know we've heard this over and over on social media. I think I've heard it to death. If I've watched one video of he must be a man of means, or he must be a man with resources, or he must be a rich man, or he must have a lot of money, I think I've watched many. But he must be a man with resources. And when I say resources, I mean he has to come with capital. He has to come with social currency. He has to come with people. He has to come with people he can call on for help and assistance. He has to come with materials. He has to come with assets. A man that comes with resources, he comes with self-confidence. A man that comes with assets, resources, capital, people, materials, he comes with confidence and a sense of being. And see, a sense of being is leading to a wholeness. Now, most of us, and most men and women, anyone in a relationship, you'll learn or believe that you're whole, separate. Okay. A lot of times, what happens when you get into relationships and then something comes up or something is triggered, and then you have to do more inner work. Uh, Wholeness is an entire journey. I don't want anyone to think that they'll become whole is a one and done. Because since we are beings that grow and learn and comprehend and understand, we continue to evolve and grow. The wholeness for us, we should always be seeking it, but we should not be leaking it. We should always make sure we have that base for ourselves. And you want men to have that base for themselves. You want men to come in self-confident and secure in their manhood. You want men to come in with their character intact and values and personality. You want him to come with these things so that he can add to your life instead of subtract from it. So I'm going to go ahead and open up for any questions you all have anything you want to add or talk about when it comes to the content. I left it at 6, but I could have kept going on and on. And the reason I did not want to go on and on and on, because I may do a part 2 or part 3. But when it comes to it, I gave you 6 things that energetically what men bring to a relationship. They bring wholeness, masculine power, resources, stability, logic, security. Men bring a variety of things, and not saying that women shouldn't have access to those things also. I'm not saying they shouldn't have access to those things. Hold on, I dropped my notebook and I wanted to make sure I have it. But men bring these things to enhance and bring value. And if they aren't bringing value and enhancing your life, then you should reconsider the man. You should reconsider the man and what he's bringing and how he's adding on to your life and how he's making your life better or worse. Make sure that you take the time to really look and vet. That's the reason why I tell every woman to vet. I don't care how great he is. I don't care how much money he has. I don't care how much social currency he brings. I don't care how he makes you feel. I want you to bet 90% of vetting is observation, 10% is questions. Vetting is not just questions. It's not just you sitting him down and asking a whole bunch of questions, because some questions aren't meant to be asked, it's meant to be observed. But men energetically bring the things that enhance our lives. They bring value to our lives overall. So if you are with a man and he does not bring anything that's enhancing or value to your life, then reconsider him. Reconsider being with that man, because of the fact that when a man taps into your energy and it's not from the overflow, he can drain you. That's the reason why you're going to start to have physical symptoms from being with that man. If you don't feel energetic, full, and happy and content, or even contentment with this man, then this may not be the right man. Because before your mind will know, your spirit will. I love how you speak on the spiritual energy aspects and what we see is manifested in the physical. Absolutely. Everything that we are experiencing physically, a lot of times there's something energetically or spiritually that's happened behind the scenes. The thing is, we have lost this knowledge, or people don't really talk about it as much as they used to. It used to be a known thing that we would look for bad blood. We would look not just at the father, we look at the grandfather and the great great grandfather and the reputation of the family. If the reputation of the family is they're a bunch of shiesty men, or they're a bunch of thieves, or if they're men that lie, we will absolutely not consider those men, because we understand bad blood. And when bad blood, even if everything's great on your side of the family tree, your side of the bloodline, there's a wildness that comes with being with bad blood. And I think a lot of women can, if you have children and you've had babies with a man who had bad blood, and we can also say bad blood can mean weak man. So you had a baby with a weak man. There's a wildness there, and it's absolutely been documented. If you actually go in any statistics or research, it talks about women procreating with men. I would consider bad blood of weak men. These men don't have a foundation. They're not stable. They're not secure. They don't have resources. They're not whole. They're leaking energy. And this comes with a child that is wild. And a lot of women have, the women who are able to deal with a wild, y'all have heard the term wild child before. Why do you think it exists? It exists because what happened was someone procreated with bad blood and it created wild child. And wild children have to have a lot. They take a lot. They take a lot. That's not going to be easy ride when you absolutely have children with a man who have bad blood. That's going to be a hard ride. I will pray for you, and everybody else is going to have to, because you're going to need a strength. You're going to have to dig deep into your strength in order to be able to raise that wild child. But black blood is a thing, and it's absolutely should be brought back again in these modern times, and we should be talking about it so that we don't get ourselves in that situation. If you're looking at your whole bloodline and your bloodline, everybody is good. Your bloodline is evolving, growing, and elevating. You should not get with a bloodline that isn't, because when you do that, you create the wild child. You create the children that they're hard to talk to. They don't listen. They want to do things their way. They're hard-headed. They like to make mistakes first and then get the knowledge later. They're hard to deal with, and they have to be dealt with a certain way. I'm not saying it cannot be that you can't reform them, because you can. You can reform a wild child, because I'm an example of that. I came from bad blood. And since I came from bad blood, I think I have a lot. I can actually say it. And I'm not saying it from this position of, hey, I had the perfect family. I came from the perfect place. No, I'm saying I came from bad blood. And coming from bad blood, there's a lot of, you have to reform. There has to be a lot of reform. There's a lot of strength that goes into dealing with that. And I think this is also a sign that when women deal with this, that's the reason why they're so tired. Because when you're dealing with a wild child coming from bad blood, the women will be tired because they aren't meant to stand in that space. They aren't. They aren't. You need a strong man to come in. A strong man to come in. I ain't saying a woman can't do it, but a lot of times women don't have it in themselves to want to do it. They want to actually relax in their femininity and feminine energy and have an easy life. And since they want to do that, this does not go well with having a wild child. So they have to either bring in uncles, grandparents, they have to bring in a man that is not affected by bad blood in order to reform that child. Because I had that. I had an uncle that stepped in and he had to step in because I come from bad blood. And in the South, and I was born in South Carolina, by the way. And these things are still a known thing. But South Carolina is considered to be around deep South. How can you understand and navigate the balance between individual spiritual journeys and shared spiritual paths to ensure we honor and trust out intuitive guidance within relationship? Okay, so that's the thing about it. If you all are together and y'all both have some type of spiritual journeys, I guarantee you, for you all to be together, it has to intersect somewhere, somehow. But the thing is, you don't have to force it, look for it, or try to figure out where you intersect in. Just continue along your individual journeys. When we're talking about two whole beings, they get together and they're whole. They can come together and have children. They can come together and have relationship. They can also separate and go on their own separate spiritual journeys within the relationship. Y'all both don't have to be on the same accord for the spiritual journey in order for it to work, in order for you to evolve and grow. You just have to have an understanding of these things and not try to force it on the other and be like, this is my spiritual journey. You should be paying attention to it. Oh, no, this is my spiritual journey. You should be helping me with this. No, you have to recognize and accept that both of you have your spiritual journeys. And since you're whole and individuals, you can come together to do the things that matters for the relationship, but go down those separate journeys in order to make it work for your spiritual journey. And usually, if y'all are together, what happens is there's an intersection where you can come together. There's an intersection where your spiritual journeys will come together and you're on the same page. Hopefully that answered the question. But as when it comes down to what men bring, men can be an asset. They can be valuable. They have their own masculine power. They bring a lot to a relationship. The thing is, you have to get one who is whole. And I'm not talking about perfection because even wholeness is not perfection. Okay. It's not perfection. It's not perfect. Because what will happen if you think you're whole and you're an individual, you'll get in a relationship and something may trigger you. He may trigger you. And then you have something else to work on. I've noticed that in my relationship, the thing that I have to work on is the thing that my husband brought up in me, and I had to continue to work on it. I thought I had my mouth under control. I thought I knew how to speak to a man. I thought I knew how to speak sweet to a man. I thought I knew how to stroke an ego. But then my husband brought him up into me the way he operated. It triggered me, and it taught me I had to learn more about communication. I had to learn how to speak to him specifically because we think that every man is alike. And this is the reason why I tell all women to kind of get to know your man because all men are not alike. There's some things that they share, just like some things that women share, but they're not all alike. You have to get in the trenches. You have to get to know your man. You have to get to know what your man is looking for and what he needs so that you can be the best woman you can be within that relationship. Because the best relationships not only understand or have that spiritual realm to it, but also it has that ability to grow and evolve. Like both parties grow and evolve in the best relationships. I've learned the more that I've been married for 22 years. I will be married 23 in August. I have learned that I'm just getting better and evolving and growing. And he's getting better, evolving and growing. Those are the best relationships. Any relationship that kind of holds you back and y'all are not growing, you're not evolving, y'all are not becoming better, you're not becoming the best woman you can be, he's not becoming the best man he can be, then there is something going on. I'm not going to say that you're not necessarily not meant for each other. I'm saying that there's something going on. It could possibly be a block. It could possibly be something that you're not dealing with, or there could be where y'all are deciding not to go or pursue anything further. So I'm not going to say you're not meant to be together, but I'm going to say the best relationships are the ones that evolve and grow and make you better. Very helpful. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. But men bring the masculine power to our feminine power. You just want to see it more in a healthy dynamics. You want to see where he's able to continue to push forward until he meets that goal. You want him to see him using his ability to get through things and not give up and not play dead. Like, you want to see a man in his masculine power because you want to operate in your feminine power and your wholeness. So if we don't have any other questions, I'm going to get ready to close out. But that is the 6 things I want to say that are important. Of yours, yes, there's some other things that I could possibly add to this and say, yes, he has to we could talk about his character. That's important. Also, what type of character does he have? What type of beliefs does he have? What type of values does he have? Just like when I was on, I try not to be on social media as much anymore as I used to be, even though that's going to have to change with the YouTube issue that I have. I'm going to have to come up and do more videos. But one of the things I realized, and I came across this video because someone sent it to me. You all know I try to stay out those spaces that hate women or despise women, or they give advice to men and how to manipulate women. I stay out those spaces. But I realized that this goes back to character. Like in another video of when I talked about standards, boundaries, and values, I talked about integrity. And I talked about how integrity is for me and is not for you. And when I realized that a lot of men are not, those men who are on social media are not operating from that space, because when you are that thing, you are that thing. You don't try to make other people be that thing. You don't try to force other people to be that thing, because you are that thing. What you do is that you realize that person isn't that thing. You decide not to deal with that person anymore. You let that person go and you find the people that are that thing. And so when I hear excuse me, not women, I hear men tell me, oh, I want a traditional woman. And if this traditional woman isn't doing A, B, C, D, and then I'm not going to be traditional anymore. But that doesn't make sense to me, because like I said in the other video, I am the standards, the boundaries, and the value. So if I believe in this thing, I'm going to be that thing. I'm just going to avoid people who aren't. So instead of trying to force people to be something, why not just be around your tribe and your people? And that's how I know that those conversations are not being had in a genuine manner. Because if they were, you wouldn't say, oh, I'm not going to be traditional because she's not traditional. No, what you're going to do, if she's not traditional, you're going to go find you a traditional woman. You're not going to try to force that woman to be traditional. You're not going to try to manipulate it, force her, or compel her to be traditional, or shame her to be traditional. You're just going to actually go find your people. That's what you're going to do. But when you are that thing, that's how you move. If a woman with bad blood has a child with a man with good blood, is the child more likely to have good blood? Yes, absolutely, more than likely. But this is what you need to realize, that this reason why back in the day they would try to come from two good families with two good blood, right? So they would have to deal with that, because there's a possibility. Then it goes beyond just the blood. It can be the environment, the culture, the people. All of these things play into if this child is going to be successful and progress and move up in life. Because then you're still taking a chance, okay? You're still taking a chance, because that blood there, that wild blood there, that bad blood there is still there. So you're going to still take a chance. So that is a chance. It could work, It's going to be based off the people now. It's going to be based off the environment, the culture, the discipline, and the things that you bring in that person, that he or she lives. That you're still taking a chance. It could be good, it could be bad. But this is the reason why back in the day, they would actually vet not just him. They would vet the father, they would vet his father, and they would vet the the next father. They would vet the entire family. And they would look at all the men in the family and they would see, does these men have any bad blood? And a lot of times y'all are not like, you're not deceiving yourself when you know you see bad blood. Like, you see families who are full of bad blood when you go over here and procreate with that man. And see, the reason why the man side is so much more powerful, it is because the sins of the father. That is why. So it is more on the man. And I'm not saying the woman's bad blood can't be an issue too. But I think with the woman's bad blood, it can be corrected with the environment, the culture, the people, and the things that you bring around the child. But when the man is coming from a bad blood family, the bloodline is horrible, it's bad, you have more problems. You might have to deal with the wild child. And the man's bloodline is more important than the woman's when it comes to the children, because the men also determine the sex of the child, and then also it goes back to spirituality, where the sins of the father are cast on the sons, and it keeps going from there and on and on and on. Can you do a video on how you was reformed as a wild child? Well, the thing is, the reason, I mean, I don't know if I should do a video on that, because the reason why I was reformed as a wild child, because I was put into, it's the culture and the environment. I had a lot of male, healthy, good bloodlines. Bad blood comes from my father, not from from my mom's side. From my father's side, it's the bad blood. My mom's side had the good blood, so they were able to put me into the environment, the people that I was around it. They put me in church. I was in church 24/7. I think I went to church on every day that I can. I've been to church on every day of the week that you can possibly think of. So they kept me full of, put me in places of hobbies, put me around people so that I can look up to great role models. See, those are all things that had to be reformed, because there was always, even as a child, there was somewhat of a wildness in me. When I can remember a time when I took, like, I think I was like 7 when I decided to take the car for a joyride. So there is a wildness to when it comes to bad blood. But the thing is, it had to actually put me in the right environment and the right people to surround me, so that I would have what I need of role models, people pouring into me, so people can guide me. I had good guidance when it came to being a wild child. And then spirituality helped ground me. Getting in a church really early on, and getting saved, and learning how about the word, and really digging into spirituality, that gave me the grounding that I needed. Because before, I knew, when I even was a little girl, I felt like there was a wildness about me. And I've noticed it as a teacher, because at one point I used to be a school teacher. I could always see the wildness in children, and you can always tell the kids who had that weak father, and there was some wildness in them. And so I don't know if doing a video about it would be appropriate, because I think I just pretty much just answered the question of how it worked out for me. And that's because environment, culture, spirituality. I had to be surrounded by people who could guide me. I had to be surrounded with love, absolute love, and patience. Because when you're dealing with the wild child, they want to kind of push, and I don't know. I think there's a wildness in wild children to want to push against authority, like they want to make something happen, and want to make something shake. And there's a certain level of anger there too. So you have to be very careful with it. But I'll think about doing a video on a wild child, because yes, I can absolutely talk about the wildness that I felt, and coming from bad blood, and how I had to, not only I had to me, as a former wild child, I had to be put in a situation of stability and groundedness. I could have never uh, been with a man who was chaotic, or who had wildness also. I think a wild child meets a wild man, that would have been a horrible experience. Because absolutely, when you have that bad blood and you have that situation, you have to surround yourself with not only love, stability, security, people who want to guide you. You have to ground yourself in spirituality. Like, I want people to know, so no one would say, "Oh, well, brother just saying that because she thinks she's perfect." No, I'm not perfect. It's because I understand what they meant when I heard it growing up in the South, and you hear bad blood. Like, like the elders would be like, "Oh, they got bad blood. Oh, they always stealing, or they always in trouble. They always have something going on. It's always chaotic. There's no peace over there." Like, you would know. My grandmother, she recognized other wild children, and she would not let me hang around them. She deliberately made sure that and since I lived in the country, it's harder to actually pursue those, to be around those people, because there's not a lot of transportation. There's not a lot of ways to get somewhere. So she really did have the ability to say, "Oh, well, you can go here. That person's family is fine, and you can go spend the night over there. Oh, hey, you can go over there. They're doing okay. They're going to some kind of church event, and you can go to it." Uh, she really had her hand on me to make sure that I didn't go certain places. And that's what you do have to do that for a wild child. They have to have structure and they have to have discipline. But then you also have to have not such a tight hand that you push them away, because there's always, with wildness comes with this need to push against authority. I sense you have to have them, they have to have a little leeway to make decisions, or to, to make bad choices too. So I think she did an excellent job of grounding me and giving me the ability to make choices and get myself in trouble and deal with the consequences, but then also giving a guiding me and giving me information of where I shouldn't go, what I shouldn't do, but not telling me. Like, even wild children, you have to talk to them a certain way. You can't just talk to them any kind of way, because they're always biting at the bits of authority. So hopefully that's helpful to you. Even if I decide not to do a wild child video, okay. But these are the 6 things that I consider, for when it comes to men, that energetically they have to bring to a relationship. If they bring these things, these 6 things, these are important. They will bring value. They help. They're helpful overall. Yes, you can add in all the rest that you want to add, like character, personality, values, because those are also important. But those things are personable to the woman. Every woman is not going to value certain characteristics in men. So you have to determine and decide, what characteristics do I want from my man, and what type of values that I want him to have. So this is all that I have for the energetics of what men bring to the relationship. If you have something else that you want to ask, I'm going to give you a second, because I know that it's a lag between the videos when I ask a question. And then I'm going to go ahead and close out this video. But I thank you, ladies, Inner Circle, Pedestal Wives. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you so much. Please take time to like the video, comment, share. Take the time to help me out, because the algorithm does push these videos down, and they don't get the views they used to get. Because I remember my page would get nice views on them. Now they don't. And I'm quite sure that has something to do with me not showing up more than once a week, or the topics, because I do topics as according to what I intuitively feel is best for my community, not what's trending. You're not telling one story. My father used to be like that with my cousins, extended family, and men. I used to think he was being mean and judgmental, but he was saving me. All of them have felonies now and unstable while failing to thrive. Them and their children are suffering. Absolutely. So the thing is, I don't know. I don't want to say your name wrong, Shamira. I'm going to say Miss Robertson. Miss Robertson, let me tell you this. Majority of people will ignore or pretend that bad blood doesn't exist. And that's the issue, because it does exist. Why do you all think that there are so many children that are being failed when it comes to these systems? They're being failed because they have bad blood from weak men. And yes, it is on the man. It's on the man more than it is on the woman. Yes, a woman may come from it or have bad blood, For hers, you can stabilize her blood a lot easier than you can the male one, and that's by spiritual. The man is the leader, and so since he's the leader, he is looked at differently when it comes to the bloodline. They've always looked at the male and the men of the family and looked at what they were doing and judged the family and gave them a reputation. They didn't do that based off women. Okay, so this exists, even though I know, and this is the reason why I didn't want to talk about it, because I was like, if I say something, I'm going to bring all the people who want to, deny that it exists, or the people who are not, don't want to even entertain or think about any type of spirituality, energetics. So they want to pretend that it doesn't exist, or just people who are just offended to be offended. They all look older than they are and suffering. And yes, I've seen over and over and over that people who are suffering from bad blood, and most people, because usually what happens, since the man has the bad blood, the woman has to deal with it. And a lot of times women, some women do have that strength. They pull that strength. They pull that masculine energy, the masculine power from themselves, and they do everything they can to prevent from their children from falling by the wayside. But then there's other women that just don't have that strength, and this is not a strength natural to them anyway. A lot of women don't want to operate in their masculine power. They want to operate either in their feminine power or sometimes in their masculine power, but they don't want to be like 24/7 masculine power. And a woman who has to deal with wild childs, yes, she's going to have to operate in her masculine power. She's going to have to be very strong and strengthened, because it takes a lot to deal with a wild child. Look older than they are. So my daddy did not play that. My daddy had us kept stable, and even after his passing, we are surviving while the other men in the family offsprings are suffering. And that is unfortunate because they didn't have to suffer. That's the reason why I'm informing my community. Because I was informed, and I'm gonna not lie to you all because I like to tell the truth. I like to show up for my community and tell you the truth and be honest. My mom was informed too, so she knew what I knew. Okay, so she knew about bad blood. She just didn't take it seriously. It was information that she dismissed, and that's what a lot of women do. They just do dismiss it. They look at the entire bloodline, and they just look at how they feel about the man and how that man makes them feel, and how the man is taking care of them. But you need to look at the bloodline. Look at and see if they have bad blood. If they have bad blood, it will affect you. Because the man's blood is powerful. I'm not saying our blood isn't, because I know some women are gonna say, "Oh, what about our blood? Our blood is powerful too." But when it comes to determination of the bloodline and bad blood, that is on the man, because he's considered to be the leader, and that's not just physically; that's also spiritually. He is supposed to go first, so his blood is judged first. The sins of the father, baby. And so you have to pay attention to, is the people in the family suffering from depression? Are they shiesty? Are they liars? Are they, just living life and is disastrous? What's going on over there? Before you attach yourself to that bloodline, because you will have to deal with the results of it. You will have to deal with a wild child, possibly if you have kids. If you don't have kids, then you have to deal with him. And he is the wild child. Thank you. This was great. Thank you. I appreciate that, because you all know some content and topics. I'd be like, I want to do them, but I want to stay off social media because I don't want to have to deal with the people who are going to come at me for it. But I feel like I would rather help my community and be of service than to hold back what I know. Because this is what helped me. When I was out here and they explained to me my own background, my own situation, and how I needed to correct it, that I need to get a man from a good bloodline, a strong bloodline, and then getting a man from a strong bloodline helped me to have children that are not wild children, that not wild child. I feel like they have a little bit of wildness in them because of me, but it's sustainable because I can give them a good environment. I can give them stability, and I can give them security. So that grounds that instability they have inside them from me. Okay. So I'm not talking at this from a perspective of, oh, I'm better than you are. I'm talking it from a perspective of personal experience and how we can correct it. So guess what? I think you gave an example and you asked about what if it's the woman? I am the woman. I am the example. My oldest son is going to graduate at the end of the year from college. My other daughter is in Japan right now. She gets back tomorrow. My other son, he is going back to school. He's going to be making medicine. So all of my kids, they display they have a little bit of the wildness in them that came from me, but I was able to provide them stability in an environment. I was able to put them in an environment where they would have stability. That calms the wildness in a wild child. They having security, being able to look up and realize they have a roof over their head and they have love surrounding them. So just being able to do that, that helps it when it comes from a woman. When it comes from a man, you are open. You're open for a ride. Like when it comes from a man, you're open for a ride. You're going to be dealing with the full gist of a wild child, and you're going to have the strength of God. You're going to have a prayer. You're going to have to do anything and everything that you can bring into that child's life in order to stabilize them. And y'all, this is absolutely worse in male children than girl children. And if you don't believe me, things that happen in the spiritual realm, there's a results of it in the physical realm. Go and look up women who are single parents and then they have male children. Go and look at the results of that and see the wild child. And then, not saying it cannot be reformed or it can't be grounded, because it can. You can ground a wild child, but you have to absolutely, you're going to put all your energy into doing so. And you're going to have to be strategic too, by bringing in good people and male energy, masculine power, masculine energy is going to help you ground that child. So we are looking at it. We're looking at it from single parents, single moms, and all this, or single dads. We're looking at it from that perspective. We should not be doing that. Y'all stop. This is not a topic for us to get in our feelings. This is a topic for us to absolutely look at the spiritual and energetic and how we can correct it. Because if you can figure out how to fix it on the spiritual realm and bring that from the spiritual realm to the mental realm, the physical realm, then you can absolutely ground your wild child. So I might do that video because it might help some other women who are dealing with bad blood from the father. So they're dealing with bad blood, and they're dealing with wild child, and they don't know how to deal with it. And in girls, it's easier to ground than boys, but you can do it. You can do it. I've seen other mothers do it too. I've seen single moms get that wild child under control, but she does have to be in her masculine power. You have to develop it for yourself if you have boy children. Unfortunately, those wild boys turn to men that don't learn until the system gets their hands on them. And even then, sometimes they may not learn. Ladies, listen, absolutely. That's the reason why what we do, we need to start looking at the children. If you have wild boys and you're looking at this video and you're like, don't get offended, because this video is here for you to help you so that you can ground your wild boys. You're going to have to absolutely dig into your masculine power. You need to develop your masculine power. He's going to need it so you can ground him. Then you're going to bring in other masculine power from other men. And so he can have some role models that he can look up to. Then you're going to get him. If he's in the hood, you cannot raise a wild child in the hood. You're going to have to move him out. You're going to have to take a hit financially. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. I'm just going to tell you the truth of the matter, because the environment matters. You're going to have to put them wild boys in the environment so they can grow. And you're going to have to absolutely look at the friends that they hang around. While you have the ability to make sure that while you have the ability, it's in your palm of your hands to decide what type of friends your child has, do it now. Don't do it later. If you start seeing him hang around little boys, they're sitting here getting in trouble, doing things that's going to be harmful overall to health and body and soul and spirit and energy, pull them now. Don't wait till they get older. There's a saying in my culture, I don't know if y'all got it also, but when it comes to the South, after 12 years old, there's nothing you can do. Okay, energetically, spiritually, after 12, it's hard for you to actually do anything else. They already are developed enough. Their brains may not be developed enough, but spiritually, they're developed enough. And so if you have to do all the discipline and all the things before they turn 12. So if you know you had a baby by a man that had bad blood and he's gonna be a wild child, then you need to start putting things in place now.
You don't wait until he gets older. You start as soon as that baby able to walk. Because all of my siblings, all are coming from bad blood. And I got all brothers and one sister. And all of my brothers have never been in jail. They all have successful careers. And all of them are married but one. And how did they do it? These are the things I'm telling you. These are the things that they knew from, we got it from the South. And these are things that we knew to do. What my grandmother knew to do, because I didn't raise them. I had a hand in the last two, but I didn't raise them. So they're very stable, secure. My brother that's after me, he's married also. He's been married about 15 years, I think 10 or 15 years. I can't remember the exact number, but his wife is absolutely spoiled and a princess. So, and he's a man. He went into the military, helped also. Okay. They saw he couldn't get that discipline, where they send him military. Like, so sometimes what a woman can't do, a man can. And I know some women hate to hear that, but you're gonna have to do what you need to do. You don't want your kid to have that bad blood. You want him to be grounded. You want him to absolutely do what it needs so he can improve the bloodline. Because he can improve himself and make better for himself. So you want him to marry a good girl, a girl from a good bloodline, so that they can go out here and progress and evolve and elevate and live their best life. So I watched how they did the boys, and the boys had that wildness too. The girls will have it, but not as bad as the boys will. All right, so I don't even think I need to do a video about Wild Child. I think I don't know did enough about it. Talked about it right here. Enough. All right, so I don't see any other questions, and we've already been here a whole hour. And so I thank you all for being here. I'm going to go ahead and let you all go so I can have lunch. And I appreciate you for being here to the end. Please take the time, watch the entire video so it will help the algorithm. Don't just quit at 10 minutes or 15 minutes. The more that you watch, the better it helps with the algorithm. Like the video, please. Go ahead and give it some likes. Comment, share, and I will see you all on the next one. You all have a good one. Bye.